National Hurricane Center designated this new area to watch in the Atlantic just off the coast of Africa. And as you know, August is typically this time of the year when the Atlantic really starts to come to life. So, of course, we do want to bring in Fox Weather hurricane specialist Bryan Norcross to share his thoughts. He joins us now on the phone. Bryan, good morning to you. Curious what your thoughts are on this new 20% area to watch in the Atlantic.
Well, we've been watching over Africa, Michael, and there have been some pretty healthy thunderstorm complexes over Africa, which is how the seeds to tropical systems over the Atlantic start. And this one that's been coming along, the models have picked up on it now, and the timing on it brings it off the coast of Africa about Tuesday, and they hold together because it comes out underneath of the big cloud of Saharan dust and over the warm water. So that's why they're giving it a chance to develop. Now, all the hostile factors that we've been talking about, the Saharan dust and the strong upper-level winds, they're still there. It's just that this is kind of dipping underneath of that. So in the long term, it doesn't look like it can go west terribly far, like to the islands, although the models do tend to turn it north, and maybe it survives and runs the gauntlet between the dust and the hostile winds and survives into the Atlantic. As of right now, I don't see any threat to land, but it is, as you point out, we're moving into the part of the hurricane season where we expect these kinds of systems, and just because we have a year with a lot of hostility in the Atlantic doesn't mean that we're not going to get some. And this is the first one of this phase of the season that we're entering into.
And Bryan, when you look at the different tropical waves that we're monitoring over Africa, there's basically two, one that's kind of hugging the coastline of Africa and then the one that's a little further inland. Are you giving a little bit more thought to the second wave? Is that the one that we're watching?
Yeah, it's the second one. It's the one that's over the continent. Mm-hmm. Very often what happens when you have two of these disturbances back to back like this, taking a very similar track, I mean, the flow is very uniform from Africa straight across the tropical Atlantic. The first one moistens the atmosphere for the second one, so the second one has the better chance, because there is still the bottom edge of dust out there. So, the sequence looks reasonable. The Hurricane Center only has a 20% chance on this. Remember, this is a 20% of it becoming a depression over the next week. So, this is, I think this is interesting because, okay, we're finally seeing some life out of that part of the tropical system generating system overall in the Atlantic. And indeed, it's the time of year when we expect to get stronger tropical disturbances off of Africa, and the dust should start to wane. But boy, there isn't really any sign of it yet. So it's going to have a hard life, I think, even if it does develop in the middle of the Atlantic, to some degree.
Bryan, I'm looking at the state of the Atlantic right now, and that Bermuda high is positioned right off the East Coast, which is why we've had so much humidity up and down the I-95 corridor. But in the long range, I think when we look farther into the future, going into late next week, next weekend, when perhaps we start to see a little more organization and development with this wave, the repositioning of that high could be quite important.
Yeah, so the high is forecast to move farther to the east. There's actually been the highest sprawl all the way across the Atlantic, all the way from the U.S. East Coast all the way to Europe. But there's been a kind of a gap in the middle. It's been made up of two big cells, and that one in the western Atlantic, that on the west side of it has just been pumping tremendous moisture into all the way up and down the east coast of the U.S., including across the south. That has been the dominant one in terms of our weather here, but it is all forecast to consolidate more over the Atlantic in a more typical position. So that's why the long-range computer models pretty much exclusively turn this, or a piece of this system or something to the north and, well to the east of the East Coast. But Since the system hasn't even formed yet, as I always say, that forecasts for systems that haven't formed or are moving slowly or are disorganized are always subject to change. So we really don't hang our hat on anything until we actually have a bona fide system to actually measure and talk about.
And also, Bryan, I mean, I know obviously it has that small window like we've been talking about where the dust kind of falls apart a little bit. And also, of course, with that system ahead of it, giving it more of that moisture so it does have that chance. I know you're talking a little bit about the hostile winds, especially with the El Nino. We tend to see that quite a bit more along the main development region, not only for this upcoming tropical storm, but when it comes to the next couple of weeks, next few months, those hostile winds, it's going to make it really tough for a lot of these storms to really make it. It looks like at this point. What are your thoughts on, I guess, the next week or so, but also in the coming months when it comes to our hurricane season with those winds?
Well, when you get a strong El Nino, the upper level winds over the Caribbean just blow and blow and blow and blow, and that's why you quite often have a drought in the Caribbean. As a matter of fact, they're doing water rationing in Puerto Rico already because of the drought there, because it just doesn't allow the thunderstorms to develop, and it ends up being clear skies and a lot of sunshine in the Caribbean. So that, you can always have little gaps when the weather pattern changes, but generally that is going to be the feature of the whole hurricane season, so across the Caribbean into the tropical Atlantic. But there is a corridor for a disturbance to turn north before it gets to the islands, and then it gets north of those strong El Nino-driven hostile winds. And then we're just going to have to see. It has to kind of thread a needle to get into the waters east of the Bahamas, or maybe somehow makes it to the Gulf as a weak system, and we end up with some sort of a Gulf system. So that's what we're going to watch for this hurricane season: systems to develop north of that extreme band of hostile winds that will really make any kind of development there in the southern part of the tropics much more difficult this year.
All right, Fox Weather hurricane specialist Bryan Norcross. Bryan, thank you so much for your insight. We really appreciate it. And of course, we'll be checking back in with you in the hours and days ahead.
All right, Michael, thank you.
Absolutely.